Okay, just tell me your name, please.
Mariagnes Brown.
Okay, and so the first question I have is think back to Friday, August 19th, 1955, and just kind of describe your day and what you were doing during that day of the flood.
As far back as I remember, I lived on the third floor of an apartment house above Andrew Brown's drugstore, where I still live. But now I live on the second floor. And I had a baby that was just a month old, and I had 3 other children, Betsy, Susie, and Kathy. And prior to the 19th of August, there was a like forest fires up in the East Mountain, and I had kind of an asthma, you know, and so the doctor said the best thing to do was get an air conditioner between the heat and everything. So that was the first air conditioner we ever got. We put it in the living room because I had a brand new baby in my bedroom, and with that, everything was fine. And it was like the second or third night, my husband got up for something, or I got up maybe for a bottle or something, and he said there's an awful lot of noise, and this talk about the Murray plant being evacuated, and it, you know, we knew it had rained a lot. So then by the time morning came, everybody was really upset, and the water kept coming up, and then it overflowed the Lackawanna River, which was right down from where we live. We live on Pittston Avenue, however, we're on a hill, and all the way down, and that's the bottom of the valley, actually. And that river went over, and it just destroyed all those homes. And one of the homes had been his family's, you know, birthplace, that a lot of them were born in on Maple Street. Now there's a big shopping center there.
Southside.
Chinese restaurant, Alfredo's, all those. Anyway, then we didn't have any, we had electricity, but we didn't have gas. And I had a gas stove and a gas refrigerator, and a baby, you know, having to heat a bottle, and 3 other children. And we didn't have any water. And my husband, and then they brought in tankers. I mean, I don't know the exact date of when the river went over, but all I know is like by the second or third day, we just didn't have water go all the way up to the third floor. I don't know if they had it in the drugstore, but they had to go out. My sister-in-law and her husband lived in the other apartment. So her husband and my husband went out, and they had Army tankers come in with water. Then they had to bring the water upstairs. Then they were calling for people to go down in boats, rowboats, to help the people out of those houses. So my husband and Eddie Walsh went down, and they actually brought people into the rowboats. I don't know where they took them, but they took them someplace. As you can see, I was busy. And then my husband got sick, you know, got contaminated for something. And then he was getting all these shots, and he was in bed for like 2 or 3 days. And there we were, you know, a baby, 3 little children, no gas, and having to get the water. So, I mean, it was really not a very good experience. And, well, we lived through it.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, I remember how one of the big things was there were helicopters coming over, and there was a picture in Life magazine. It might have been on the front page of Life magazine. Do you have that memory, or do you have?
We do.
Yeah. They took people out of a house right on the corner of Washington Avenue and maybe like Elm Street. They took the people out of the house in the helicopter, which was important in those days.
You already answered some of my questions here, so that's good. How did you find out about the flooding? People came. How did you hear about the flooding?
On the radio.
Okay.
That was 1955.
1955.
We had television, and my sister-in-law across the hall and her husband got the first television. And of course, at first we shared it, so I don't even remember when we got a television, but I don't remember too much on television, you know, like we do nowadays. I think it was mostly radio. And it was probably like that morning, you know, when they said the Murray plant, that's the first thing we heard, Murray plant's being evacuated. And that was right down by the river. As I said, my family in New York were calling, are you safe? We heard, you know, and I'm like, oh, we're up at the top of the hill. So, I mean, we didn't have any damage, but his family home, which they no longer owned, was wiped out. You know, and that was kind of sad about them thinking about their family home being wiped out.
Did you walk down to see the flooding? What did you see when you?
I don't think I don't think I left that third floor.
I understand why. Another question I have: do you associate any sounds or smells or anything with the flooding? What was it? You know, any kind of?
No.
Okay. And what do you remember about the first few days after the flooding was over? The start of the recovery, or what do you remember about the first few days after?
Well, it was just kind of like getting clothes and you know, those were the days before paper diapers. In fact, I think there might have been some paper diapers in the drugstore, and they brought them up to me, and they were horrible in those days. But I mean, I had all those other diapers, you know, and I couldn't wash, and didn't have water, and I might have had electricity, but I didn't have water. So it was like it was really about 3 days, I think, before the gas and the water. And we were just living with that water. As I said, I don't think I went downstairs at all. Where would I go?
Yeah. When you were able to travel, and I mean, what do you remember seeing? At some point, you were able to travel.
Well, I mean, it was really total devastation down there. And I don't think you could get down there for, I don't know how long, you know, a week or two or whatever. But then again, you had the pictures. And as I said, I don't really think there was, I just don't remember all the television that we have now of everything so instant, you know, seeing everything.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about it? You answered most of my questions without me asking them. So, is there anything else you wanted to remember? You want to talk about with it, or?
No. As I said, that was pretty vivid.
Yeah, it was pretty vivid.
Especially when, as I said, I had this terrible asthma, and the doctor was like, I think the only thing left is an air conditioner, you know. So I had just been through that, and got a little bit of relief with the air conditioner. And then, you know, the next thing happened was that flood. So, I mean, it was a summer to remember.
Well, thank you very much.
But if you, to digress, my husband had a sister who was in the convent, and she was stationed in Kingston when the other flood came.
1972?
72.
Okay.
Was that Agnes?
That was Agnes, yes.
And you don't have to put that on.
No, but you know, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
But I'll tell you about her.